Hey, my name's Izzy. This is Rolling Virtual Cards, coming at you with another Commander deck build. This time we have Faramir Field Commander. This is 3 and a white for a 3/3 legendary creature, Human Soldier, with the following effects. At the beginning of your instep, if a creature died under your control this turn, draw a card. Whenever the ring tempts you, if you choose a creature other than Faramir Field Commander as your ring bearer, create a 1/1 white Human Soldier creature token. Just for a heads up, and I always have this saved, this is what the ring does. So the first time the ring tempts you, so you select the creature you control. So the first time it tempts you, the ring bearer is legendary and it can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. What that means is if you have like a 1/5, it can only be blocked by one axis. So it will never die to that usually. The second time it tempts you, whenever the ring bearer attacks you, draw a card and discard a card. That gives you card selection, not bad. The third time it tempts you, whenever the ring bearer becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller sacrifices it in the combat. The reason this works is because, again, if you have a 1/5 and you swing and they block with like a 1/6, it's going to die. You normally wouldn't kill it in that instance, but it will die or be forced to be sacrificed. And if they block with an indestructible creature, that creature gets sacked. So it's useful. It makes it so that they don't want to block. So first off, it's hard to block, and then then you're getting some card advantage. Then it's even harder to block. Like, it punishes them if they choose to block. And then lastly, the fourth time, when the ring bearer deals combat damage to your player, each opponent loses 3 life. So even though you deal 1 damage to them with this, in this instance, like with the 1/4, each opponent, including that one, will lose 3 life, which is good. Very useful, fun time. It's a good card. A good thing. Like, not really fun to keep track of, and make sure you have like a token, or at least like this on your phone so you can show off. But yeah, and so every time the ring tempts you, if you don't choose Faramir, you're gonna make a human, which isn't bad. That human, making humans each time the ring bearer, each time the ring tempts you. So knowing that, the point of this deck and the reason you'd want to build it is if you want a mono white deck that focuses on the ring bearer, a ring tempting you. You're gonna run every single card that tempts you. Just try to get them off multiple times, so that way you can just keep getting 1/1s. And then at the beginning of your instep, if a creature you control died and you draw a card, that's simple. You just want to make sure you lose a creature each turn. So sack effects. So let's go over it. First, let's change that view for a second so it's easier to see stuff. There we go. First off, we got ETBs. Yeah. The reason why we have some ETBs is every deck has some ETBs, okay? Spirit Bonds, when a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you're going to pay white, and if you do, you make a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying onto the battlefield. Great way to get a spirit onto the field, quite simply. You just play a creature, pay a white, make another creature. Okay, so, what do you want to do with that? Well, this whole thing, this Spirit Bonds, works with your commander perfectly, because you can pay 1 and a white and sacrifice that spirit you just made to target a non-spirit creature, and it gains indestructible in a turn. So now you just sacrificed a creature, which will trigger your Faramir's first effect at your instep, drawing your card, and you're gonna get this really nice protection. So you do that. It's only at the beginning of your instep, but you're gonna do that if like someone tries to kill something on your turn, or just to trigger that effect off. It's useful. And then we're going to get to some of the fun cards here. Mentor the Meek. Whenever a creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you can pay 1 generic. If you do, draw a card. This is great because, like, if you play Rumor Gatherer and you have Spirit Bonds and you pay the white because of ETBs, Mentor the Meek, you pay 1, and then you can pay 1 for the spirit. You're just drawing cards. Just make sure you have the mana. You can draw some good cards. Rumor Gatherer, this, whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you can do scry 1. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, draw a card. So you only ever get able to get 1 draw off of this, but you scry constantly, which is really good with stuff like Mentor the Meek, because you can make sure you're not drawing into dead cards with Spirit Bonds and all the tokens you're making. Welcoming Vampire, same thing as like the other ones, but it's only once each turn, so whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under control, draw a card. This ability triggers once each turn, but it has flying. And the cool thing about flying is if you put the ring on a flyer, it's going to be easier to hit people. Knight Captain of Eos. This is 5 for a 2/2, but when it comes into the play, you create 2 white soldier creature tokens, and you can sacrifice a soldier to prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. So again, why would you want to stop your combat damage? Not really. I mean, you want to do it on your opponent's turn, but that's not going to help you. But it's good for protection. It gives you soldiers, and you can at least sack that soldier or the soldiers you're making here to trigger the effect to draw a card every step. Stalwarts of Osgiliath, when it enters the battle for the ring touch. Simple. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a 1-1 counter on it. You will get those 1-1 counters off of like Faramir or your other stuff, and sometimes you can even get those off on opponents, because it's each turn. He gets pretty big, which is useful, but he's here because the ring tames you. And then Lana, Selfless Champion. When it enters the battlefield, you create a 1/1 white soldier creature token equal to the number of non-token creatures you control. So if you have like 5 non-token creatures, you're gonna make 5 white, and that'll trigger all these cards to just draw you more cards. But then you can sacrifice it, and creatures you control with power less than her power gain indestructible. So that includes your commander. So a lot of your things are just stay indestructible, which is useful, and you can sack it if you really need to draw a card. ETB enablers, you have a few here. So slip on the ring, exile target creature you own, then return to the battlefield under your control. So this is gonna flicker it, and the ring temp. So there's a ring temp. Mimic Vat, great. It's just a great way to constantly get ETBs off of something that died. Something like Stalwarts of Osgiliath will give you a ring temp every single turn, which will give you a human every single turn, which can be sacked. But you can also use like Knights of Captive Eos to get 2 soldiers, or Lena, and you can get like 4 or 5 soldiers each turn. There's a lot you can do with this that's just super great in this case, in this sense. So then you have something like Helm of the Host. Helm of the Host is really strong to just get more ETBs, more triggers, more abilities, and putting it on Faramir is cool because that when the ring tempts you and at the beginning of your end step, double. So if you have 2 Faramirs and a creature died, at the end step you're going to be drawing 2 cards. And if the ring tempts you have 2 Faramirs, you're going to get 2 humans. And if you have 3, that's 3 of them. 4, that's 4 of them. Super strong in that regard, getting a lot of those duplicated stuff. It's going to really help you push getting to that like next level of like winning. It's the same thing like if you put it on Welcoming Vampire, since it's a second Welcoming Vampire, the effect will trigger twice. And the Eternal Wanderer is pretty cool. So no more than 1 creature can attack it each combat, so that makes it hard to kill. But +1, exile creature return to the battlefield under its own control at the beginning of that player's next instep. The beginning of that player's next instep. So you can exile a creature an opponent controls as a control piece or as an interaction piece, but you can also just flicker Lena or Stalwarts or Knights, anything to help you, and then you just get added instead. 0 gets you a 2/2 white samurai creature token with double strike. You can sack that some other time. And -4, each player chooses a creature that player control, or for each player choose a creature that player controls. Each player sacrifices all creatures they control, not chosen this way. So you can just choose Faramir and just keep it, and then draw a card, and try to go from there. Very useful to just board wipe, and you can do that right off the bat, which is not bad. Finishers. Here's some finishers. It's pretty fun. War of the Last Alliance. You get to search your library for a legendary creature card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle it. You're running a few legendaries, so that's fine. But it's 3 creatures you control gain double strike until the turn the ring tips you. So the ring's going to tempt you. That's good. And then double strike to all my creatures. That's going to win you a game. Eldrazi Monument's great. Creatures you control get +1/+1, gain flying, and indestructible. So there's some protection. There's some evasion, there's a buff, and at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. If you can't, you sacrifice Eldrazi Monument. You're always going to have a token to sacrifice, almost always, and that's going to trigger your commander instead, making it so much easier. Elspeth Sun's Champion is going to give you 3 tokens. It's going to be able to pop all creatures with power 4 or greater, which doesn't hurt your commander. Most of your creatures are going to be fine, and its emblem is its finisher. You get an emblem with creatures you control get +2/+2 and fly. That just usually wins you. Because like all the soldiers you made on the way up there, they're going to be 3/3 and fly. Yeah. Monastery Mentor it's not actually Magecraft. Again, Magecraft for me is, I just use it as a tag for anything that triggers off of like casting a non-creature or instant sorcery or something. So it has prowess. It makes monks that have prowess when you catch a non-creature spell. You're running enough non-creature spells to run that work, and you get to flood the field. But like, don't really focus on like that prowess to like win. Like, it's accidental. They might you might have 5 monks all of a sudden after a few turns, and then like you cast 2 non-creatures on the turn you go to attack, and they're 3/3. Cool. Here's some ramps. Soul Ring taps are 2 colorless. Wayfarer Bauble. taps, grabs you a basic land. Arcane Signet taps for any color. Follower Stone will tap for any color your opponents control. Mind Stone taps for colorless, but it can also draw your card by sacrificing it. Sword will grab you 8 planes each turn. Thought Vessel taps for colorless and makes you have no maximum hand size. Astronaut's Altar is a great way to sacrifice something, and it also gives you 2 colorless mana. Burnish Heart will be sacked to go grab 2 basic lands. Inherited Envelope, into the battlefield and the ring timps you. Which, again, normally, like, in regular decks that aren't ring tips, that's just the thing. I don't want to run this because I don't want to worry about the ring tempting me. But in this deck, that's great, and it taps for any color. Akotet's Monument, it makes your white creatures cost 1 less, and when you cast a creature spell, you can make it a 1/1 white warrior creature token with Vigilance. Smuggler's Sphere is cool because at the beginning of each end step, you draw a card for each opponent who drew 2 or more cards this turn, and then you create a treasure for each opponent who had 2 or more lands at the battlefield you draw. That second part almost never happens unless they're running fetch lands or they're a green deck. But Smuggler's Share, the first part, a lot of people draw more than 1 card each turn. That's just going to be good to give you some more draw. And Smothering Tides almost always goes off. Most people just ignore it casually. Otherwise, you're stacked in, which both are great. Slow them down or get some treasure. Either slow them down or speed yourself up. Samwise, the Stout-Hearted is just your only recursion here. When it enters the battlefield, choose a target permanent in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn, return it to your hand, then the ring tips you. So this is here because the ring tips you. Not a bad thing. Get something back in your hand. Got Flash. Not bad. Your lands, you've got some that draw you cards, and then you have one that makes a human, and then mostly planes. Again, you can mess around with this. You're in mono white, so you can run as many like utility lands as you want. And I'm running like 36 lands. You could probably run less if you want to. Draw power. Esper Sentinel is going to draw you cards off of your opponent's casting spells. Unless they pay X or X is its power. Skull Clamp. You're making a lot of X1 tokens. Put the Skull Clamp on it, draw cards. In this Atlas, you're going to be able to pay 2 to draw a card if you have 3 or more lands of the same name, so 3 planes. Idol of Oblivion, since you're making tokens, you can tap to draw cards, and you can sack it to make a Tintin if you really want to, for 8. We went over Mind Stone. Lorien of Third Path is my, totally my, my pet card. For 3, you get a 2/1 human artificer. It's got vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment, and then you can tap it. Target opponent, you and target opponent each draw cards. So this is a great draw. You give just help an opponent who's further behind, which can also help you. What people don't understand is if someone's far behind, then all of a sudden like they're not helping stop the other people that are ahead of you. Plus it's got a pop, it's great. We went over Mentor and Rumor and Smuggler and Welcoming. Court of Grace is great. It's going to draw you cards off of the Monarch. And at the beginning of upkeep, you're getting at least a 1/1 Spirit with Flying. And if you are the Monarch, you're getting a 4/4 Angel, which is going to help you win the game. Trading Post. It does a lot. The main thing is that sack, but going over it, you can pay 1 and tap it, discard a card to gain 4 life. You can pay 1 and tap it, pay 1 life, and create a 0/1 white goat creature token. Notice that the 4 life you gained here helps you here. You can pay 1 and tap it and sacrifice a creature, that goat you just made, to return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Right? That's the thing you discard. You discarded an artifact. And then you can pay 1 and tap it to sacrifice an artifact to draw a card. And that artifact's what you just played. So it kind of cycles through its own stuff. Not bad. Not great. There's a lot of stuff going around there. Mainly, you're just sacrificing your creature to return an artifact from your graveyard to your hand. Something like Mind Stone, or if you sacked Eidolon, or if something was blown up, or a lot of times you can just grab like Wayfair Bauble back into your hand, or Burnished Heart and reuse them, which is also really good. So it does technically, I guess, in a lot of ways, this does have recursion, and I should really identify that in the tags, because it does. It does recur your artifacts. So that's really strong. Like, it's a good card. I think it's underrated, honestly, because it doesn't do a bunch of great things, but it does a lot of okay things. Interaction, lots of interaction here. Path and Swords, exiles a target creature. Lightning Greaves and Swift Roots will protect your commander. Slip on the Ring, it is protection and interaction because you exile the card and then in response to something popping it. Blasting Station, you can sacrifice a creature and it deals 1 damage to target creature or player, so you can kill X once. And when a creature comes into play, you may untap it, so you can kind of like go boom, 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 boom. Faramir, Warden of the Tower. It has Vigilance, and your opponents can't cast spells. Or when an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. So this really hinders a lot of like cheating cards out, and you don't want people cheating cards out on you. And you can sacrifice it, and creatures you control can indestructible until the turn, and the ring tempts you. So that's great because you can get the ring to tempt you, get a human and soldier, and you can protect your stuff. Generous Gift is just pop anything, give them a 3/3. We went over Lauren. Teferi's Protection just phases everything out. We went over Spell, Speth, and Eternal. Protection. Intangible Virtue. Creature tokens you control get +1/+1 on Vigilance. There's Protection there because they have Vigilance, which means they can still block. We went over those. Ghostly Prison has some protection because it prevents your opponents from hitting you unless they pay 2. Oh, Myral Shield of Argov. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments, meaning they just can't do stuff on your turn. And then when it attacks, you get to create X/1/1 creature or colorless soldier artifact creature tokens where X is the number of soldiers you control. You're running a lot of soldiers, so this is just kind of snowballs over the few turns. Now for Wrath, now for Ruin. Put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. They gain Vigilance until the turn. The ring tempts you, so you can swing in. They get buffed permanently. Good card, and the ring tempts you. And we have those two for other ways to protect you and stuff. The ring. Here's a few cards that just happen to be here. When it dies, the ring tempts you. That's the one that's here. That's weird. Doesn't do anything other than that. Sack, we're running the Witch's Oven because it's actually useful. Sacrifice a creature, create a food token. If the sacrifice creature's power touches 4, create 2 food tokens. I didn't care about that. I just needed sack outlets in mono white, and this just, yeah, sure, food. Why not? I guess I can sack the food, gain life. Spawn Pit, you can sack a creature to put a charge counter on it, and then you can remove 2 charge counter to make a creature, and then you can sack the creature to get another charge counter on it, and then sacrifice another creature. So it's not infinite. You still have to pay mana, but it is a nice way to just kind of like slow the game down. Not slow the game down, but give you a creature to sack. Mondrake Glory Dominus will double the tokens you're making, which is useful. Trading Post, we went over that. Oh, I didn't know. Okay, Retrofitter Foundry. You can pay 3 to untap it, but you pay 2 to make a 1/1 servo. You can pay 1 to sacrifice a servo to make a 1/1 Thopter, and you can just tap it for free for nothing. Sacrifice the Thopter you made to make a 4/4 colors construct. So yeah, this is an easy way to sack stuff and just keep building the next thing each turn. We went over the stacks, and then here's the token cards. Cards that just do token stuff and nothing else. Luminarch Assassin, it just makes tokens. You pay 2, 1 in a white, and you make a token. You do need to have the counters, but it's not that hard. You get a counter each instep if you didn't lose like this turn. Skrelv's Hive. You lose a life at the beginning of your upkeep, but you make a 1/1, which is great because that 1/1's gonna... I mean, it has Toxic, so you can technically win via poison counters, but you just get a 1/1, that's usually gonna get sacked. As long as your opponent has 3 or more poison counters, creatures you control with Toxic have lifelink. So technically, like, if you keep swinging your mites at one opponent, and they get hit by 3 mites, yeah, now your mites have lifelink. Cool. We don't have Spirit Bond. Adeline, Resplendent, Cathar. Its power is equal to the number of creatures you control, so it can get pretty big. It has Vigilance, so it's good blocker. And when it attacks, for each opponent, you make a 1/1 white human creature token tapped and attacking that player. So if you have 3 opponents, like you're playing a 4-player game, you get 3 1/1s. Not bad. Inspiring Leader. Commander creatures you own have creature tokens you control +2/+2. So this is going to buff your creature tokens, which is really good. Don't play this if you have Skullclap out, though, because that won't work with it. We went over Monastery and Orchid. Prava of the Steel Legion just gives your creature tokens +1/+4. Again, don't play this if you have Skullclap out. But you can also pay 4 to create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Change tags. No, come on. I need to change that tag again here just to add in. Where are you? Monaseek. That's what I wanted. Because it's a Monaseek. Oh no. What? Yeah. Oh no, it's there. Okay. Court Grace, we went over. Emery Angle, when a land enters the battlefield control, you make a 1/1 white bird with flying. Not bad, easy way. Fell down retreat, get a 2/2 when land enters the battlefield, or put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control, and they give vigilance. So that's a great way to protect yourself with vigilance and buff your creatures. Hero Blade Hold has Battle Cry, so when it attacks, other creatures get +1/+0. And when it attacks, you create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens tapped and attacking. They will get this +1/+0. Oh, we went over all those. Divine Visitation will turn your tokens into 4/4s. Again, doesn't really work with Skull Clamp, but that doesn't matter because you're going to win. God Eternal, a Ketra makes 4/4s off of casting creatures with Vigilance, which is so great. And it's a 3/6 with Double Strike. If it were to die, or be put into exile from the battlefield, you can just put it into its owner library, throw it to the top, and get it back. And I went over the rest. We went over the tutors and the wipes. So, lots of good cards here. Great place to start. It is a token deck because you need ways to sack stuff, and white doesn't have enough creatures that return to the field. If this was white-black, it could. So, yeah, the point of this deck overall is to really just have Faramir use that ring tempting you to give you humans. You don't have a lot of ring timps in this deck because there's just not a lot in white, but it is useful because you can get that draw, and that draw each turn might not sound like a lot, but it's the equivalent of like Monarch. You get 1 draw a turn. Why not? It's not bad. Sometimes you get humans, but it's like a fun mono white deck that gives you a draw each turn. So play it slow, hit your opponent slowly, and just come out on top. They're not going to fear you. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.